one of, you hear about the airline industry, you hear about Hollywood, but one of the things that you don't really hear about is how much the dance community, not just ballet, but ballet, a lot of the dance community has been affected. So I guess if we could start, Anna, just with you know, give an introduction about yourself, tell the listeners who you are, where you are, and then talk about like what ballet is a little bit and, what it means to you and stuff like that.
Of course. So my name is Anna Swenson. I've been dancing with American Midwest Ballet for the past going on 8 seasons. I first started here with Ballet Nebraska when I was 20 years old. Then they changed their name to American Midwest Ballet to be more of a regional ballet rather than state-based. During this time, usually we'd be traveling and touring across the Midwest and then also into Texas and to Florida. But because of COVID, our 2020 and 2021 season has been canceled until further notice. So currently, I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, taking classes online. So nothing really close to dancing, performing, anything that has to do related to ballet currently, other than taking Zoom ballet classes, which fortunately our company is being proactive in that sense, where they're keeping their dancers in some type of payroll, being able to take class every day. And we are getting paid to do that. But other than that, nothing is being performed live, obviously, for safety and health reasons. We are doing a segment called Going Solo, which I was a part of. And every week we have, or every other week, we have a live video on our channel on social media that promotes that going solo. That the artistic director decided that she wanted to, do something for the dancers, have some project that we could still be a part of the community and still reach out to the donors and the people who love the arts to show that we're still here. We're still trying to be artists. We're still trying to create things, but it's just a little different than what is typical. My piece that I did was called, why am I forgetting now?
You sound like Ryan.
I know. Wait, hold on. Order in the Chaos. Thank you. Okay, so the segment that I did was called Order in the Chaos by Seneca Montgomery, who was a longtime friend that I grew up with in Spokane, Washington. We trained together at the same studio, and we kind of lost track of each other over the years. And then because of COVID, we were in Spokane, Washington at the exact same time. And unbeknownst to both of us, just happened to work out that we wanted to do something that kind of reflected how we both felt. And that's the great thing about dancing, is that it doesn't have to have constructs. Like, there's no reason to not get together or not to dance, because that's the way we express ourselves as artists, is that we use movement and we use the music to say words that we're not saying out loud. And so a lot of it's interpretation by the audience, but also it's just in a form of it's a way to express ourselves as artists, because right now we don't have any other outlets. And not performing is definitely a part of me that I miss. I miss performing, I miss touring, I miss the people that are my family here in Omaha, Nebraska, because I don't have family that's related here in the Midwest. So my family really is American Midwest Ballet, and not having them and being with them right now because of health concerns and because of restrictions definitely hurts. It's makes you very dejected as an artist. You a lot of melancholy going on during these cold winter times.
I don't feel that. It's hot as shit here still.
Well, damn it. it's snowing. I was taking class this morning on Zoom with one of our teachers, and she was like, "Oh, look, it's snowing! Oh, it's snowing more!" And I'm like, "Damn it! I like snow, but it's just not the same because it doesn't feel like Christmas. We're not doing the Nutcracker. We're not together touring and having, a ton of like memories. It's not the same to me. It doesn't feel like it should be Christmas yet without the Nutcracker."
Ryan can't relate, unfortunately.
I kind of can. When I see snow, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to take my car out.
Right?
I'm never happy to see snow.
I don't mind it if it's like there's reason for it, right? So you can enjoy it and see the Christmas lights reflect off the snow, but it just doesn't feel like Christmas right now to me. I don't really get to be around people. I'm just with my cat group for the majority of the time. So it just feels, even though it should be around that time where you're celebrating and being with family, I don't get to do that.
Yeah. And, with Corona and stuff, it's, people aren't having these large family gatherings, and it's after as you were saying, such a long year already. To add that to it, it just makes it all tougher,
It really does. It just kind of just makes the season less jolly, for sure. Oh, that's a cute cat. Kind of scary.
So before we go, well, two things to the listeners out there. Ryan Henry is going to learn about the Nutcracker. And that's just an exciting episode in itself. But the second thing is, and I can attest to this, not in my short professional ballet career. Thank you, everybody. Is I think ballet in this era, at least in the States, right, is probably the most underappreciated form of dance. Maybe not so much in Europe and Asia. But in a weird way, in the States, it's gone very, I think, underappreciated. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. And maybe you disagree with that. But I guess the question I wanted to ask is, when it comes to ballet and its beauty and how hard it is, I think that's the thing, right? Is that you guys make it look easy, which is the point. What is something that people really don't appreciate about it? Like, I don't know. I find it now like everybody's twerking and stuff. We've gotten away from the beauty and the really beauty from ballet. And I wasn't introduced to it until I met you, to be honest. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like,
I think a lot of people don't realize how arduous the ballet is on the body, and like you can't just pick it up. You can't just kind of jump into doing the same thing that you did, 6 months ago. Like while we were in rehearsal in March, we were getting ready to do a show, and we were back in the swing of full-time class and rehearsals, and we were finishing up the piece that we were working on called Swing, Swing, Swing. And you can't just jump back into that without having class and having rehearsal before like at least, 3 weeks at least to get back in shape, because you are a professional athlete and you do have to make sure that you're taking care of your body, and you have to get back into the shape that you were previously in. And it's not something that's at all easy. And as a dancer, especially as a professional athlete, you're not supposed to take time off. You don't really take months off. Like you'll maybe take a week here and there. You don't take that much time off. You don't take months off. You have to stay in shape. And that's why as a dancer, you take class every day. You have an hour and a half of class every day to begin your day, just because you have to warm up your body, warm up your joints, so you don't, first of all, sprain any muscles. You don't get any stress fractures. You don't tweak any joints. It's really important to stay in as best shape as you can, so that way when you do start performing at a high caliber, you're able to keep up with the ongoing brutal reality for your body. Nutcracker is like that. You have to be in shape. You can't just jump into it. And a lot of people don't know that. They don't know that we spend weeks on maybe one performance. For the Nutcracker, we have multiple performances, and we do multiple school shows, and we do multiple like community outreach things that we work with the school. So, like a lot of the schools and kids that we'd be talking to about it this year, they're missing out on that too, that experience, the first time seeing the Nutcracker as well.
Right.
So this isn't something that is just affecting me. This is affecting like the community as well, here in Omaha, Nebraska. And a lot of kids get inspired to dance because, like myself, the reason why I even started dancing was because I saw the Nutcracker. That was something to me that I was like, I want to do that. I want to be on stage, and this is with these beautiful costumes, this beautiful music. The whole experience was, as a 6-year-old, amazing. Like I did not realize that you could do that for a career. I've never seen anything like that. I didn't know that you could do that and be paid to do that. So we're missing out on a lot of opportunity to reach children and kids that might want to do this and for their life and pursue this.
I've been to your shows, and man, those performances are always like, those kids, man, they love it.
They really do.
They go up to you. They're like, you're like their hero,
It's really fun to take pictures with them and to sign posters. And I've had parents reach out that I teach and say like they bought my point shoes that I signed, or the poster
Damn, okay.
I was on I'm on the wall. And it's like one of those things that you work so hard to attain and to be a part of this lifestyle and just this career path. It's not easy. It's definitely not something that I recommend if you want, to make money quickly. If you are okay with constantly, first of all, berating yourself, because that's, correction after correction, you're always just trying to attain perfection. Perfection's an unrealistic conception. It's all about, the observer and who you're dancing. It's something that when you get to see it inspire someone else, or if you get to perform and it actually changes someone's perception of the art and of ballet, and they feel like they can do it, that to me is worth it. All the shitty things that have happened, it's worth it. It makes it worth it.
So you touched on it a lot, obviously, but and especially at the beginning. And first of all, I feel like you didn't talk about how much time you guys spend, the long hours you guys spend rehearsing. You guys do crazy hours for that, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, you've been a part of the Nutcracker, so you've seen firsthand how many rehearsals we have before the actual shows.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, no, definitely. So I guess you touched on it already. Can you put in more concrete terms, just like how has the professional ballet world been affected? Like you've talked about a little bit here and there, but obviously you guys aren't dancing anymore. And then as you're saying, like the opportunity, but also the community, all those kinds of things. Can you just kind of sum it up? And do you see, like, will ballet companies be able to bounce back from this? Because, or the dance community going to be able to bounce back, do you think? Or is it just going to be kind of like everybody just, maybe you'll try to make it happen, but like for the smaller communities like Omaha, I can imagine that the dance community will have a much harder time bouncing back,
That's a hard question to ask because every company has taken different measures in trying to mitigate the damage because of COVID. Honestly, just because of the current administration and how capricious the leadership was in dealing with steps to take in order to stay, first of all, safe, what to do in order to not have or to get COVID-19. That wasn't clear. So for many weeks, we were kind of on this ledge of, do we keep going? Do we take measures into our own hands? Do we try to space ourselves out? Like, we didn't really know what was going on. We didn't know if we were going to get paid the rest of our season. So I remember very clearly being in Whole Foods line, getting like smoothie stuff, and getting an email from my director saying the season has officially been canceled. And that morning, we had just finished a section for Swing, 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 and we hadn't actually run it all the way through. And the ballet master was saying, we'll just run it in tomorrow. Don't worry about it. We'll run it tomorrow. And in my brain, I was just like, it just exploded. I was like, there's no tomorrow. Like, nothing is known now. Like, I don't have a life anymore to rely on. There was nothing that I knew that was going to be certain, and everything was just up in the air. And as a 27-year-old, that's a really scary place to be when you don't know what is next. For me personally, I want to retire at some point, and I want to try something else, but I don't want to end that on terms because of COVID. Like, I want to have a retirement where I can have a retirement show and have a year to say bye to the things that I have grown to love and the people that I've grown to love. So personally, that's just been a huge struggle because everything is so unpredictable. Luckily, we do have vaccines, but that doesn't mean that we're going to get it in time before the start of our our season 12, 2021,
Right.
all still up in the air. The even scarier part is that we haven't been told what we're going to be doing this spring. We have no idea yet. So my last class is going to be tomorrow of like, I know exactly where my company stands, but by tomorrow, that is, again, once up in the air. I have no idea. We haven't been told anything. So that sense of self-knowing is gone. It's again, just trying to make the best of a situation that you have no clue how it's going to turn out. So that's why I'm currently going to school, because that is something that I can have control over and can get done in the meantime. I think for the majority of dancers, we've had some dancers retire because they were on the, going back and forth, wanting to start a family, not knowing what's going to happen. They've just decided to take that and run with it. Like, I'm going to start a new life now. Luckily, no one has left the company just because they didn't know what was going to happen with COVID. For the majority of the dancers did stay. We had a couple dancers leave to another company, but other than that, the majority of dancers did stay in Omaha, Nebraska. But like, we all came here to dance. That's the thing. Like, we're all here to be a part of American Midwest Ballet, and who knows how long that's gonna last. If we have another year where we're not able to perform, people are gonna want to move on and do other things with their lives. I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
So,
man,
it has affected also the incoming generation of dancers who just graduated from high school, who want to start their professional careers. It's such a huge risk. When you audition in what is called commonly called as cattle calls, because there's just like hundreds of dancers going for a couple spots within a company, but none of those happened. No auditions happened after mid-March, and that's typically January, February, March. April is when we have auditions. All of that was canceled for the majority of companies. So those wanting to even get a shot or even put their foot in the door was slammed. It was gone. There was no chance for them to even start a career.
Which also means that if dancers do leave and decide to move on, the company doesn't have people to replace them either.
There's hopefully going to be a Zoom audition. I mean, obviously things are going to have to be a lot different. They're not going to be able to expect, someone to have a full studio space themselves. Not everyone has that luxury to go to a studio right now. A lot of people don't have that. So I don't know how that's going to look when it comes to auditions, but there's going to have to be some leniency, definitely. Just because we don't have that accommodation. Like, a lot of people just don't have those accommodations. It's just not viable. But there are going to be auditions. I know a lot of companies canceled their season. American Ballet Theater, Pennsylvania Ballet, New York City Ballet, just to name a few, Joffrey, they all canceled their season, and I don't know what auditions is going to look for them. So we'll see. We'll have to just wait and see, kind of let it play out. I'm sure there's going to be something, though.
People are trying to figure it out, I suppose.
Been doing that for 9 months.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll be done by Easter.